I love this workspace. It's everything that I've always wanted to have in a van, and I finally pieced it all together. Come and check it out. Hey there, Peter Holcombe here. I am in beautiful Hot Springs, Arkansas at our Uncle Robert's property out here. This is a beautiful place to come and relax. Mild winters, it's December, and we're really enjoying this as kind of a layover for the holidays before we jump west. Now, I've lived and worked for the last 9 years from the road, and that's been everything from working out of a little laptop bag in a coffee shop when we first started out, to now having what I feel like is a pretty honed workstation for one, to be able to do all my video and photo creation and post-production inside of my Revel van. With this setup, I have everything I need to live and work from the road, and it almost rivals what I used to have in my studio space at Boulder, Colorado. I've got all this now inside my Revel van that can be anywhere I want, and I can get the work done in a comfortable, creative, efficient space. So that's what this video is about today. I want to share with you my Revel van workspace. Come on, let's check it out. So I live in a 2021 Revel, which is built on a 4x4 Sprinter van chassis by Winnebago. They do this build out and they make this, it's like 90% of everything I want it to be, and what I'm getting ready to show you is the 10% part that makes it my own and makes it perfect for what I want to do. So let's come inside. All right, as you can see, I have a little dinette area here. There's the cab. Here's the galley. But one thing that I've done that makes a big difference is I've added Schlieren seats. These are German orthopedic driving seats. They are very comfortable, and if you do lots of driving like I do, they are such a treat. But the one thing I really like about the Schlieren is I can lean it forward. By being able to lean this forward, I've instantly gained a lot of space in my van. Now, sometimes I'll want to flip these seats around, and I can flip them around and make them into more seating area. But a lot of times I just want to get to work and I don't want to mess with all that. So I'll just flip this little lever, give it a push, and they swing forward. Now I've got a huge amount of space here, and it's just taken me half a second. Welcome to my studio / office. This is where I do all the behind the scenes work, is in this tiny little space. I'm sure a lot of you right now are cringing, thinking, oh, I could never do that. Well, you might. And you know, honestly, that was a big challenge for me when we went on the road, is I gave up a giant studio and a really cool office that I'd custom built to be my perfect workspace, and I traded it all for the freedom of living life on the road. And that's just it, right? You're going to make compromises. You're going to be flexible in different ways to do different things. So what I've always been trying to get back to is having this wonderful workspace where I can feel like I have everything I need at my fingertips, but I can fit it inside of this little nook of a Sprinter van. So the Revel comes with this dinette setup. So it's got this bench seat here. It's got this table. The idea is that a couple could spin the front seat around, and then you could both sit here and have a little dinner and relax. And we do use it as that, but having this Revel van with this office that I've created in here has really given me the ability to work virtually anywhere. What I really love about this space is, for one, I have freedom. I have freedom to go anywhere I want, to photograph whatever I need to photograph, and I've got everything that I need right here with me. So that's huge, and that could be in a city, that could be up in Alaska, that could be in the desert somewhere, and I can just stop, and with 30 seconds to 2 minutes setup, I can be ready to go and work on any project that I need to. More often than not, this is a dedicated office space. Now, when we're going down the road, it looks just like this. The only thing that might give it away that I do some work here is this monitor mount. But other than that, it is just very much like a stock Revel, okay? Now, one thing that I added right away is I needed a place for my phone. So I've installed a Night Eyes mount right here, and this goes to the wall. I have a power 2 USB power outlets right here that I can run down and power my phone. I can then spin out this arm, which my monitor is going to mount to. Now, I don't always set up a big monitor. If I just need to do something quick, I might use this space just as is to write a quick email or do something really quick on my phone or laptop. The 2 biggest problems I've had all along working on the road has been power and internet. And luckily I've gotten both of those solved, especially with this current iteration of my Revel van. Now this Revel van, it came with a wonderful lithium-ion power system. It uses 2 Lithionics 130 amp hour batteries. It was great. I really felt like I could do a lot of what I needed to do, but there were times on big assignments where I needed to work for extended period of time and be off the grid, unplugged, and be able to edit videos and charge batteries and run hard drives and do all the stuff I need to do. And I left me wanting just a little more power. Now to satisfy that, I discovered Romerig, and Romerig is a company out of Connecticut, and they do installs on Revel vans specifically, and they take the power system and just beef it up. So now I have a 3,000 watt inverter, I have 650 amp hours of Lithionics batteries. They're the same batteries that come with the Winnebago, they just add more. Now that gives me the ability to work anywhere I want and to have a pretty good span on how long I can work for without having to start the engine or use solar or do anything. What all this means is that I can charge my batteries faster and work longer once they're at 100%. And so it allows me to be off the grid pretty much indefinitely. Like, I don't worry about power at all anymore. It's been wonderful. The other thing that's always held us back has been internet. We travel with an AT&T hotspot, which works in places where we do have cellular service. So do our phones, you know, we can hotspot off of our phones. I find the hotspot gives me a little faster speeds typically than my phone will alone. And so a lot of times I'll use the hotspot. But then recently we've discovered a device called TravelFi, and TravelFi is a multi-carrier hotspot. So if I'm at a place like where I am right now in Arkansas and there's a good Verizon signal, but there's a lousy AT&T signal, which my phones and my hotspot are associated with AT&T, it allows me to get on that Verizon network and use internet through Verizon's towers, and therefore be able to work in a place where I might not have been able to otherwise. Now the big game changer for me is being able to have internet in the really remote places. The places where there's not a cell tower within 50 miles. Those are the places that I love to be in, is those really wild and remote areas. And so the game changer for me has been the Starlink internet. So Starlink has given me the ability to have this satellite internet and give high-speed connections anywhere that I am. And it honestly, it has worked 95% of the time. It has been amazing. There's been a couple of times when we've been in really dense forests and it just hasn't been able to see the sky enough. Now I have my Starlink router just kind of wedged in here, and I'm still looking for the perfect place to mount it. I think it's going to be right there, but I'm just deciding exactly how I want to do that. I then took the cable that goes to the Starlink dishy and I drilled a hole through my roof. It actually goes through a cable gland that I got from Agile Off-Road. It's the same gland that I use to wire in my driving lights that are on the roof and my perimeter lights. And I had one extra space in that gland where I could run one more cable through. So the cable runs through the gland and goes up to the roof. Up there I have 75 feet of spare cable. My Starlink is mounted in something called a star mount. This is a beautifully cut CNC milled mount. It allows my Starlink to fit in it perfectly, be very secure. It's attached to the roof with 3 giant magnets. The magnets sit on some plates that I got that actually protect the roof, you know, rubbing around and being up there on dirt roads and possibly, you know, scratching up the paint and causing rust. So it sits on 3 plates that are VHB taped to the roof. This is a great way to attach things. I've attached solar panels and all kinds of things to different vans over the years using VHB tape, and it's working great for this star mount as well. I've found that I can use my Starlink going down the highway and get really great speeds, and I don't have to do a thing. And if I pull into a place kind of like here where I have a lot of tree cover, I might want to pull my Starlink off the roof and move it to another spot where it gets a better view of the sky, right? Because Starlink needs to see the sky to see the satellites passing. Check out my Starlink video. I'll put a link right here if you haven't seen it yet, but it tells you everything about Starlink. But Starlink is a game changer. I chose this cabinet here because it has power in it. So this is my office cabinet. I want to show you how I've set up this cabinet, and I've gone through a bunch of versions of this over the last 2 years. What I have is down below, and this, I know this is really dark, so it's gonna be hard to see, is I have all my batteries and chargers. So in here I have my drone charger, I have my camera chargers, I have GoPro chargers, I have my computer power supply, and it's all run in to a central power strip that then goes through the inverter that gives me AC power. Now this power strip is also kind of cool because it's got USB-A and C outlets built into the power strip, so I like that. For my smaller devices, I can plug straight in there and don't have to use a power adapter. This is kind of neat. So this bottom area here is really dedicated to charging batteries and keeping all my electronics going there. And right here I have a little fan that's kind of wedged in here next to my hard drive. This is just a simple computer fan off of Amazon, and I can turn it on when I'm doing long work sessions in the summer, and it gives a little more ventilation in this cabinet than it would normally get. Now, I almost always am working with this thing with the door open for the same reason, just to allow cool air in and to keep my hard drives and computers from overheating. So there's a fan. Then right here, I have my RAID array. This is a redundant hard drive. So on my computer, it looks like one hard drive, but anything that is copied to it goes onto 2 drives. So I initially have a backup right from the beginning. Then from there, I do further backups on other hard drives that then are locked away in our safe, or they're deposited at 2 different places around the country where I keep all my long-term backups. So that's really critical. If you're working in a vehicle, you need to make sure that your digital assets are backed up. And when I mean backed up, not just in the vehicle backed up, is what happens if somebody smashes your window and steals all your hard drives and all your precious work is gone. You need to have them maybe, in my case, I have them here, and then I have a safe in the back, and so it's locked into the safe, which is bolted to the vehicle. It's going to make it harder to get. And then on top of that, I have them around the country where I update things as I move around, and I've got backups there as well. So come up with a good backup strategy. That's really important. Now then, as we go to the next level up, starting over here, I have something that's critical to keeping my wife happy, as is my Bose noise canceling headphones. And I will put these on when I'm editing video, and she can be in here doing her thing, and she's not having to listen to me going back and forth editing, which is really maddening if you're not the one doing the editing. It's a hard thing to listen to. Here's just a little lacy backup drive that I use in the field and for kind of short-term backups and when I'm working on something. Here's my Travel-Fi hotspot, which is great. I touched on that earlier. And then in this next space over, I have my MacBook Pro. It lives right here on this shelf. Voila. And it is wired so it can be powered all the time. So I have a cord over here, and this cord can be plugged into it when it lives here, or I can pull it down and use it at the desktop here if I just want to pop my laptop open and do a quick email or do something not very intense and I don't want to set up my monitor and do all of that. So I have the ability to have it powered in either place. When I'm not using this, I just coil this up and it gets tucked up here between these 2 little soft bins that allows me to just keep it out of the way. And then over here, I've got 2 cubbies that just have various stuff. This is kind of office stuff. This is little odds and ends, nothing real exciting, but it's like a microfiber towel to keep my monitors clean and clean my computer. I've got spray for the screens, batteries, GoPro stuff, blah, 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 just various stuff over here. Then something that we kind of came up with is we found these little bungee net pockets that a lot of people will put in the back of their Revel over their bed, and we have them there as well. And it's a great place to mount anything that you want to attach to a wall. Let you maybe, like I use it to hold my iPad and in the back in the bedroom, and it works great for that. But we had a couple extra ones, and I was like, gosh, what if I put them on the roof of this cabinet? And it allows me to have things like my walkie-talkies, and they're actually wired in, so when they're in storage here, they are actually charging as they go. I also keep my little Apple trackpad lives up here. And then on the other side, I've got my Garmin InReach, critical piece if you guys are getting way out in the boonies like we are. You need to have one of these. Starlink kind of helps with that too, but this is a critical thing. It's another topic, doesn't really pertain to the office space. But cords and different things all live up in here, and it just allows me to use the top of the shelf now to store things. It doesn't all have to be stacked from the bottom up. I can come from the top down. So that's kind of cool. For the longest time, I had a laptop bag, a soft-sided, like a briefcase kind of bag that I would just put in here. But then every time I wanted to set up my computer, I'd pull out the bag, I'd pull out all the stuff, I'd do my work, and I'd put it away. And eventually I realized, I'm like, what am I doing? I feel like I'm wasting a lot of time pulling stuff in and out of this bag, and I'd really like to just use my laptop right here and leave it there while I'm working, and then be able to use an external monitor. So I still carry around a bag if I need to go to a client or work in a coffee shop or traveling or something. I still need that bag, but it's now tucked away in the back of the van. And Kathy and I have really beat our heads against the wall trying to figure out what is a good thing to use as a little thin shelf up here. And please send me a comment in the comments below if you guys have a better idea for this. I think I'm gonna eventually make something out of wood that's gonna just be the perfect shape and perfect everything for this. But right now what we found, we were up in Canada at Canadian Tire and we're looking around and we found these shelves, and these are little cookie cooling sheets, and they're made out of mesh, they're wire. And we got 2 of those, and then we use these little L brackets here, and there's a couple of them, and they're bolted together, and then they're zip tied together. Surprisingly, I've been using this thing for about 8 months now, and it works great. This is kind of a proof of concept that this is what I want to do. I really love the way this fits in here. I love the way it works with my laptop. All that, I just need to figure out a little better, more refined way to do the same thing. And honestly, as I'm traveling around, I'm choosing to travel more than to work on this. So I need to just stop somewhere for a little while and put my thinking cap on. But kind of why, you know, this is working great. Then underneath it, foam shelf paper type stuff, and my computer sits on that. When this door is closed, there's no way really anything can move that much. It all stays put. Then the next level up, I've got my Thunderbolt cords, and I work exclusively with a Wacom tablet, which is a pressure sensitive pen. It allows me to basically, instead of using a mouse, I can then use this stylus, and I can edit video, I can do photo editing, I even use this for checking emails and surfing the web. This is like, I don't even carry a mouse. This is it. And this works great. I love it, but it's kind of a big flat thing, and it fits perfect on this shelf. The pin lives right up here in the little bungee net and keeps it nice and safe. These are some extra cords, and they just stow right here. And then on top of that, I have a Bluetooth keyboard. And then I don't use a mouse, but I am a big fan of the Apple trackpad. And this I use a lot for video editing. I find this really fast for scrolling and scrubbing around a timeline. I like this a lot. So I will pull these out, they go on the table, and then I'll set up the monitor and I'll work. The biggest thorn in my side for years has been figuring out how to travel in a small space with a fairly large monitor. And now I finally solved that problem. So let me show you where I keep a 27-inch Apple Studio display. So I slide the table back out of the way. I'm going to pull out my mount so it's kind of ready and waiting. And then underneath this dinette, I'm going to pull the cushions out of the way just so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing here. As I pull this up, you can see down in here I've got laser cut foam. This laser cut foam perfectly cradles this studio display and protects it, keeps it from moving, keeps it from jiggling as I go down the road, and is the perfect place to store this. So there's 2 little cutouts in the foam. I'm going to lift it up, and out comes the studio display. Okay. Now then, I'm just going to take this arm, swing it around, and it clicks right on, and voila. I have a totally adjustable 27-inch display that is right in my work zone, right where I want it. I can set it up very ergonomically. It's stored in a nice out-of-the-way spot where it's protected. Then the only thing I have to do to set this up is run this one power cable up here, and it plugs in. I move my headphones out of the way. It plugs in right here. Boom. and I'm ready to go. I pull off this protective film that comes with it, and that's getting a little raggedy. I'm gonna eventually figure out something else to protect it, but honestly, it's held up now for months and months. Then I put my cushions back down. Now I can leave my laptop right where it is, and I can connect it with one Thunderbolt cable that plugs into the back of the monitor. So a lot of times what I do is I just run it up here, I loop it through this cabinet, and then I can plug it right in to my laptop. Plug it in. Laptop has power. I can tuck this cord away, and now my monitor is almost ready to go. Let's see, I'm going to slide this out of the way a little bit. Then I pull down a Bluetooth keyboard. I will then pull out my trackpad and my Wacom tablet. Okay, now this Wacom tablet can be Bluetooth or it can be wired in. If I'm doing long work sessions, I'll wire it in just so the battery in here isn't strained. But I can just turn it on Bluetooth. I pull my pin out, and now I can adjust my monitor right where I want it, get everything, and I am set to go. I'm ready to work. All right, so here it is. I've got a keyboard, I've got a trackpad, I have my Wacom tablet and my stylus, and I am ready to get to work and do whatever I want. I've got a big, nice, beautiful, color-corrected screen to work from. I can move it around as I need to. I have my Sony Bluetooth speaker here, which is great for just having tunes in the van, but I do use it sometimes working. And then I really need to do critical work, I'll put on those Bose headphones and have a better sense of sound and not be driving Kathy crazy while I'm editing video and listening to the same clip over and over and over and over. So I have a monitor mount that mounts straight onto this Revel table. It just clamps on from underneath. I beat my head against the wall for quite a long time. That was one of the things I was trying to figure out, was a really slick way to do the monitor. I was gonna hang it off of this shelf and have it come down and be supported from above. And honestly, as I started digging into that and thinking about how I was gonna machine these parts and do all this fancy stuff, I decided in the interim I would just try this mount. This mount is a Gaber LeviTouch DM500. If that's of interest to you guys, I'll put a link to it down below. But this is just a really simple computer mount that clamps on, and honestly, I've been using it for months now and it works great. So I think I'm just gonna run with this. I do have other USB outlets here to charge my watch, to charge my phone, to do anything else. There's usually a few extras, and that's been really handy. And having my phone right here on the wall has kind of been a neat little place to almost have my other little life here, which is my phone. And I've got easy access to it. It's not taking up desk space. It just works. This is my 2022-23 Revel workstation. It's almost everything I want right now. It's working really beautifully for me. I've got the ability to do big projects very comfortably. I have everything I need, and I'm on the road, and I'm in the places I love. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please hit the like and subscribe button down below. It means a lot to us. It really helps our channel grow. We have lots of content from all the different adventures we go to then different how-to and van modification things that we're doing into our van to make it more livable and usable for our particular needs on the road. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope to see you somewhere over the horizon.